ranking the strongest Capricorn birthdays, are you one of them, the hidden power of Capricorn? There is a reason Capricorn energy feels different, heavier, deeper, more silent. Yet impossible to ignore. Capricorn is not the loudest zodiac sign. It does not chase attention. It does not beg to be seen. Instead, it watches that it waits, and when the moment is right, it moves mountains. But here is the truth most people never talk about. Not all Capricorns are built the same. Some Capricorn birthdays carry a much stronger cosmic signature than others. Some were born with an almost unnatural level of resilience, discipline, and inner authority. And some were born to dominate silently while the world underestimates them. Today, we are revealing something rarely discussed in astrology: a ranking of the strongest Capricorn birthdays. Why certain dates create more powerful Capricorns, and whether you are one of them. This is not about ego. This is not about being better. This is about raw spiritual strength, emotional armor, mental endurance, and karmic weight. So take a breath, because what you're about to hear might explain your entire life. Why birthdays matter more than you think. Most people only know zodiac signs by date ranges. Capricorn runs from December 22nd to January 19th, but that's surface-level astrology. In reality, each day inside Capricorn's season carries a different planetary pressure. Think of Capricorn like a mountain. Some are born at the base, some are born halfway up, and some are born at the peak, where the air is thin and only the strongest survive. The difference comes from planetary transits, Saturn's exact positioning, lunar phases, and karmic intensity tied to specific dates. That's why two Capricorns can look similar on paper, but live completely different lives. One breaks under pressure, the other becomes pressure. The true meaning of strong in Capricorn. Before we rank anything, we need to define what strength really means for Capricorn. Strength is not loud confidence, aggression, dominating others openly. Capricorn's strength is endurance when everyone else quits, emotional control in chaos, strategic patience, the ability to carry pain without complaining, power built slowly, then unleashed decisively. Strong Capricorns don't explode, they outlast. And that's why people often realize their power too late. How this ranking works. This ranking is based on Saturn's intensity on each birth date, historical astrological patterns, psychological traits repeatedly seen in Capricorns born on specific days. We are not ranking best personalities. We are ranking inner strength, resilience, dominance, and survival energy. Some dates create Capricorns who are emotionally indestructible, become leaders without trying, terrify enemies simply by staying calm. Others create Capricorns who are softer, still strong, but less armored. All are Capricorns, but some were clearly forged in harsher cosmic fire. A warning before we begin. As you listen, you may feel seen, exposed, or deeply uncomfortable. That's normal. Capricorn, strength often comes from wounds, not blessings. If your birthday appears in the higher ranks, it usually means you've lived a harder life than most people realize. is tier 5 Capricorns, still strong, but not the strongest January than January 19. These Capricorns are often misunderstood. They are resilient, yes, Responsible, yes, but their strength is practical, not extreme. They are builders.workers. Stabilisés. Their Saturn influence is lighter, meaning less karmic pressure, less emotional isolation, less internal war. They tend to thrive in structured environments, value security over dominance, avoid unnecessary conflict. These Capricorns are strong like stone walls, reliable, steady, necessary. But they are not forged for war. They don't crave power, they crave peace. And there is nothing wrong with that. The lower tier, c'est apéri, c'est ORNS. Lower tier does not mean weak. It means less internal suffering, more emotional balance, better ability to enjoy life. Ironically, some of the strongest Capricorns in ranking live the hardest lives, and some of the lighter Capricorns are the happiest. What comes next? In the next part, we move into Tier 4, where things begin to change. These are the Capricorns who feel pressure early in life, mature to fast, learn responsibility before childhood ends. This is where Saturn starts tightening its grip, and this is where Capricorn strength becomes inconfortable. En 9 par 1, par 2. Ranking the strongest Capricorn birthdays, are you one of them? Tier 4, the Capricorns who grew up too soon. There is a specific group of Capricorns who never really had a childhood. They were the kids who felt responsibility before they felt joy, learned self-control before they learned play, watched others lean on them even when they were still young. These Capricorns didn't ask to be strong, they were forced to be. Saturn's influence here is heavier than average, not crushing but persistent, like gravity that never turns off. January January says, if you were born on these dates, chances are you matured faster than your peers. You were emotionally independent early. You learned to rely on yourself because no one else did. These Capricorns often hear phrases like, "You're so mature for your age, your old soul. You seem like you've lived before." What people don't see is the cost, the invisible burden they carry. Tier 4 Capricorns often carry family expectations, emotional responsibilities that weren't theirs, a deep sense of duty that never sleeps. They are dependable to a fault, and because of that, people lean on them constantly. The danger? They forget how to lean on anyone else. Emotional structure of tier for Capricorns. Emotionally, these Capricorns are reserved, observant, highly controlled. They don't explode easily. But when they do, it's usually because they've been silent for too long. They don't complain. They endure. And endurance becomes their identity. Why their strength is underrated. Tier for Capricorns aren't flashy. They don't intimidate with dominance. They intimidate with consistency. They show up at every time. No matter how tired they are the people others trust with. Important decisions, secrets, long-term responsibilities. But here's the shadow side. They often feel unseen. The inner conflict of Tier 4. These Capricorns live in a constant internal tug-of-war. One side says, "Rest, you've done enough." The other says, "Keep going, you don't have a choice." And Saturn almost always sides with the second voice. This creates chronic pressure, quiet burnout, emotional isolation. They appear calm, But inside, they're always calculating, preparing, holding things together. WHY Loneliness for them isn't about being alone, it's about feeling like no one truly understands them. Being surrounded by people but emotionally separate, always being the strong one in the room. They don't want pity, they want recognition, not praise. Understanding. When Tyr for Capricorns step into power, when these Capricorns mature fully, something shifts. They stop over-giving, over-carrying, over-protecting everyone else. They learn boundaries. And when they do, they become terrifyingly effective. Because now, all that discipline and endurance is focused, not scattered. Their true strength. Tyr for Capricorns are strong because they can survive long-term pressure. They don't crumble when support disappears. They know how to function even when emotionally exhausted. They are not here to dominate. They are here to outlast systems. But we haven't reached the dangerous ones yet. Tyr 4 is where Saturn begins to test. Tier 3 is where Saturn breaks and rebuilds. These next Capricorns are the ones who have been through emotional darkness, have lost things that changed them permanently, no longer see the world through soft lenses. They are still calm, still composed. But now there is steel behind the eyes. Tier 3, the silently intimidating Capricorns. These Capricorns walk into a room and shift the energy without saying a word. Not because they're loud, not because they demand attention, but because they feel. Et vie. January 9, January 12. If this is your birthday range, you've likely experienced emotional loss, deep disappointment, or moments where life stripped you down to nothing. And instead of breaking, you are adapted. The transformation of Tier 3. Tier 3 Capricorns are forged by disillusionment. They learn early people are unreliable. Promises break. Stability must come from within. The Capricorn slowly observes sleepily. Rarely shows vulnerability. They don't expect rescue. They expect reality. How others see Tier 3 Capricorns. People often describe them as intense, serious, hard to read, but also competent, grounded, authoritative. These Capricorns don't need validation. They've already faced worse than rejection. Emotional control at another level. Tier 3 Capricorns don't suppress emotions. They master them. They feel deeply but privately. They can sit in discomfort longer than most people can tolerate. That's what makes them dangerous. Because pain doesn't scare them anymore. Why, they are natural leaders. When chaos hits, these Capricorns don't panic, they slow down, they assess, they calculate. They move decisively. Others sense this and instinctively follow. Not because of charisma, because of trust. The shadow side of Tier 3, here's the cost. They can become emotionally distant. They can struggle with softness. They can forget how to receive care. They are strong but tired. And sometimes they forget that strength doesn't mean isolation forever. Wenn Tier 3 awaken. Once they integrate their emotional depth with self-compassion, they become unstoppable. They are strategic, emotionally unshakable, calm under extreme pressure. These are the Capricorns people regret underestimating. And now we approach the top. If you think this is intense, understand this, Tier 2 and Tier 1 Capricorns are built under the heaviest Saturn influence possible. These are not just strong individuals. These are forces born under pressure, shaped by struggle, and carrying authority that feels ancient. End of part 2. Please look forward to the next part. Thank you very much.